On tonight's Gwinnett Prep Rally, the basketball season came to an end this week, so which teams walked away being crowned state champions? Norcross took on McEachern in a heart-stopper that would come down to the final play. The North Gwinnett Lady Bulldogs and the Hillgrove Lady Hawks went back and forth in a high-scoring semifinal matchup. And the Lady Wolves from Buford were looking for a fourth consecutive state title against a Lovett squad that had other ideas. While the Wesleyan Lady Wolves were looking to become only the third team in state history to win 5 consecutive state championships, facing off against a tough Southwest Atlanta Christian team. GPR is your home for high school basketball championship action, and it starts right now.
For more than 15 years, your source for Gwinnett County sports is Gwinnett Prep Rally.
Hello again and welcome to your county's original high school sports television program. This is Gwinnett Prep Rally, now in its 19th season, and we can be seen right here on GCPS TV for the entire 2011-2012 school year. I'm Todd Klein alongside Will Hammock from the Gwinnett Daily Post, and Will, after dominating the basketball state championships a year ago, only one Gwinnett team was able to capture a title this year.
Yeah, it was a dominant effort last season, but then a lot of those kids graduated, so just a completely different effort this season. Gwinnett fell short in a lot of ways, but the one team that didn't fall short was the Wesleyan girls with another dominating performance in the state tournament.
Well, let's get right to the highlights. And the Norcross Lady Blue Devils' quest for a third straight state title would have faced its toughest challenge, taking on unbeaten and nationally ranked McEachern in the Class 5A state semifinals. GPR's Chase Watson has more.
This semifinal matchup wouldn't be decided until the final seconds. McEachern came out red hot. Pacquiana Roberts zips the pass to Dominique Wilson right under the basket for an easy 2 and a quick 7-0 lead. Norcross finally gets on the board when Shayla Cooper muscles her way inside between 3 defenders, making it a 9-2 Lady Indian lead in the first. In the second quarter, Taya Cooper's shot is off the mark, but McGill is there for the offensive board, the bucket, and the foul, making it a 16-9 McEachern game. McGill was everywhere. She gets the steal here and takes it back the other way for the right-handed layup, and the Lady Indians were cruising up 24-12 still in the second. Norcross trying to stop the bleeding. Tori Carter finds the loose ball. She takes it behind the arc and releases the wide-open 3, hitting nothing but nylon to pull the Lady Devils within 9 just before the break. In the third, Bree Williams finds Patrice Butler on the block. She goes up strong and gets the basket and the foul, and the Lady Devils were starting to get pumped. But McEachern answered right back. Taya Cooper doing it all by herself on the break. She takes it right by the defense to the rack, and the Lady Indians lead 39-29. Norcross battling back in the fourth. Diamond DeShields gets the offensive rebound and puts it right back in, and the McEachern lead was trimmed to 7, 57-50. And then Bree Williams fires the pretty pass to Jasmine Kemp in the lane. She does the rest, and we have ourselves a 3-point ball game, 57-54 with time winding down. 6 seconds left, Norcross still down 3. Shayla Cooper gets the inbound and puts up the shot for the tie, but it's deflected, and McEachern holds on for the victory, 64-61 over Norcross.
On a night when Diamond DeShields maybe was banged up, didn't play her best, Norcross still had that chance right there at the end with a 3-pointer to possibly send that game to overtime.
Yeah, it's really all you could ask for. I mean, they really fought hard and played great in that game. Outside, I know Diamond really struggled. She was banged up, hurt her shoulder during the game, and then had all the other injuries, the broken hand. Really tough for her to gut it out, but really the other pieces on that team stepped it off offensively. Shayla Cooper played really well. I thought Tori Carter had a great game, and as did Jasmine Kemp. With those players scoring like that, you'd figure Norcross had a really good chance to win if they had gotten a little more offensive production out of Diamond.
And you talk about those other parts, Will. In Gwinnett County, we always ask, what are you going to do next year? Norcross has been dominant. They don't get the title this year. What do they look like next season?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Norcross and McEachern again next season for the title. Both these teams should be pretty strong once again. Obviously, Diamond DeShields and Shayla Cooper coming back is a really good start for Norcross. So 2 good pieces to build around. So I think the state title hopes will still be there next season for the Blue Devils.
Well, back to the highlights, and the county's final shot at a state title in Class 5A came down to the North Gwinnett Lady Bulldogs, who were in the semifinals for the first time since 1963, facing off against Hillgrove. Chase Watson has all the action from the Gwinnett Arena.
The Lady Bulldogs were fired up for the semifinal showdown. Hillgrove starting off strong, Selena Rodrigo slings the pass down to Mackenzie Ingram, who gets the left-hander to go and gets the contact. Lady Hawks up 4-0. Ariel Johnson penetrates and dishes over to Peyton Whitted. She knocks down the jumper from the charity stripe, cutting the lead to 4, 10-6 in the first. Hillgrove turns up the defense. Meredith Heyer gets the steal, and Marisa Lester comes up with the loose ball. She takes it back the other way and finishes with the easy layup, extending the lead back to 6. Lady Bulldogs with some nice ball movement. Whitted finds Kenesha Wilborn cutting down the lane all by herself. She gets the open bucket. North Gwinnett only trailed by 1, 18-17 in the second. Just before the half, Whitted puts up the difficult shot. She can't get it to fall, but Elisa Munlin sends the pretty touch pass back to her, setting up another easy bucket. North Gwinnett would take the lead 27-23. Lexie Brown gets in on the action. She drives inside and gets the crazy circus shot to go. No foul on the contact, but North Gwinnett was rolling up 9 in the third. Hillgrove would charge back though. Rodrigo fires it down to Ingram, who goes up with a strong low post shot, and the lead was cut to 3, 36-33. Then Rodrigo does it herself off the nice Tiffany Schick assist. She gets the difficult shot with defenders in her face, and we have a tie ball game, 37-all early in the fourth. Now down by 4, North Gwinnett looking for a spark. Lexie Brown drills the long three-pointer from way back, pulling them to within 1, 40-39 with time winding down. But Hillgrove would keep the pressure on. Heyer throws the bomb down court to an open Ingram. She hits the jumper to push the lead back to 4, 50-46. With 9 seconds left, the inbound pass is picked off by Ingram, and Hillgrove hangs on for the victory and moves on to the finals 56-51 over North Gwinnett.
Well, Will, this is kind of uncharted territory for North Gwinnett, and early on it looked like the Bulldogs were going to be in the state championship game, but they really just couldn't quite hold on down the stretch.
Yeah, it was a tough way to lose the game, and you felt like they were kind of starting to take control a little bit, had a little bit of a lead, never quite could open it up, and then the fourth quarter just kind of, like you said, slipped away. Can't really fault Lexie Brown. She had a great game, had 25 points in this one. Peyton Whitted also had a good game, so their star players delivered. And
talking about star players, Will, and star players next year, if Diamond Shields is back for Norcross, Lexie Brown back for North Gwinnett, it's going to be big-time battles in Region 7 and possibly again at the Final Four.
Yeah, I think North Gwinnett's going to come back next season again and want to get back to the same point, the Final Four. Obviously, they want to do a little better than they did this time around, but they're going to have the talent to do it. Whitted's a junior, Lexie Brown's a junior, both talented players to build around, so that's a good start for those girls.
Time now to recap other basketball action from the state semifinals. It's brought to you by Breda Pest Management. We begin with the Wesleyan Lady Wolves, who had a nice game beating Taylor County 55-40 in their semifinal game in Class A.
Yeah, they had a great size advantage in that game and definitely took advantage of it. Kaylin Caldwell, 10 points, 4 blocks, really kind of keyed that victory. Didn't play their greatest ball game, but when you play defense like Wesleyan, you're going to pretty much win most of the time just because you get after it on that end of the floor.
And then staying in the semifinals, but moving on to Class AA, Buford easily makes it to the state finals with just a rout of Brooks County.
Yeah, I think they were up something like 49-11 at halftime, something ridiculous. So they just came out and meant business from the start. Christina Nelson had a nice game. Mackenzie Dara and Kayla Davis also played well. Just a nice victory. That's their 4th straight appearance in the state championship game.
Just talking about those semifinal victories there, Will, first of all, going back to Wesleyan, that's the mark of what a great program. Like you said, even when their offense isn't going, they play such good defense that they could overcome it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about them. They even when the shots aren't falling, they can produce a lot of points just off their defense alone. They're going to force a lot of turnovers, get a lot of easy baskets off layups and steals. And that was the case in this one. It's going to happen. You've seen it happen so many times over the years with Wesleyan, and it was a key in this semifinal.
Well, in Class AA, I think in that semifinal we saw the Buford that we all expected. Reason we thought they were one of the favorites to win a title. They just played a great ball game in that one.
Yeah, they've been picking up steam in the latter part of the season there and really just steamrolled their way into the semifinals and really kept it going here in the semifinal victory. I thought they played a great basketball game, showed up with focus, and took care of business to get into the finals.
Well, let's get right to the state championship highlights now, and we begin with the Class AA finals where the Buford Lady Wolves were trying to capture their 4th straight championship going against region foe Lovett. Nathan Shutter has the call.
Buford and Lovett facing off with the AA state championship on the line. Lions come out hot in the first quarter. Kristen Johnson gets the pass inside and goes up strong with the right hand, and Lovett jumped out to a quick 6-0 advantage. Buford fights back. Mackenzie Dara hits Maya Dillard in stride, cutting down the lane. She gets the easy layup to go, and the Lovett lead was trimmed to 1. Then, on the break, Kayla Davis fires the assist to Callie Case between the defenders for the transition bucket, and the Lady Wolves lead by 4, 12-8 in the second. Lovett steps up the defense. Tatiana Jackson gets the steal at the top of the key and takes it all the way back the other way, finishing with the left hand, and Lovett reclaims the lead 15-12. Just before the half, the three-point attempt is off the mark, but Christina Nelson fights for the offensive board and puts it right back up and in, but Buford heads to the half down by 1. In the third quarter, Sydney Mary goes to work on the block. She gets position and gets the difficult reverse scoop shot to fall. Lovett now up 6, 24-18. Then some good perimeter ball movement ends up with Jackson open in the corner, and she buries the three to extend the Lovett lead to 11. Buford would battle back in the fourth. Kayla Davis burns her defender and takes it hard to the rack for 2, and the lead was trimmed to just 4. And then Dara picking off the pass and dishing it to Davis, who ends up with the easy shot, and the Wolves were starting to heat up with under 4 minutes to go. But the Lady Lions just made clutch plays the entire game. Jackson picks up the deflection here and puts in the easy bucket to push the lead to 6, and Lovett would not look back. They take home the state championship by defeating the defending champs Buford by a final of 52-42.
Well, Will, we talked about how dominant Buford looked in the semifinals, which made this outcome here in the championship game all the more surprising, especially after they'd beaten their region foe a couple of times during the regular season.
Yeah, these teams knew each other pretty well, and it's tough to beat that team a third straight time. Obviously, Lovett was very motivated to turn that around in their favor, and they did so with an excellent game plan. They played hard. Buford's kind of got behind early and just spent most of the game chasing. Couldn't quite get over that hump late. They used a lot of energy to get back in the game and couldn't quite finish it off.
And though the Wolves are losing a star player, probably anybody that's hoping that they'll have a downfall next year should probably hope again, because it looks like Buford will be loaded again next season. Maybe we'll see them in Macon again.
Yeah, there's a steady flow of talent always that comes through that program, but some of the top pieces will still be coming back. Kayla Davis, Christina Nelson, Mackenzie Darris. So those are very top talented players. I think they're going to do excellent next season.
Well, back to the highlights, and the Wesleyan Lady Wolves were Gwinnett County's last hope at a state title in 2012. And like the previous 4 years, they did not disappoint the local fans. Nathan Shutter has all the action from Macon.
Wesleyan taking on Southwest Atlanta Christian for the Class A state championship. Both teams got off to a slow start. Wolves break the press, and Brittany Stevens takes it all the way to the hoop for 2. Wesleyan up 5-2 midway through the first quarter. They will close the quarter strong. Jocelyn Belcher comes up with a steal, and Katie Firking will take it all the way to the bank to increase the Wolves' lead to 6. Then, with under a minute to play in the quarter, the three-point attempt is off the mark, but Kayleen Coswell is there for the board and stick back to give Wesleyan a 15-5 lead after 1. Second quarter, some nice ball movement from the Lady Wolves. Firking finds Belcher wide open behind the arc, and she buries the triple to put Wesleyan up 21-6. Then, it's Belcher throwing the lob inside. Firking comes up with it and lays the ball in on the reverse. Lady Wolves dominating up by 19. Wesleyan still pushing the pace. Stevens with a long pass ahead to a wide-open Jordan Frazier, and she lays it in with ease. Lady Wolves go to the locker room with a 37-19 lead. Second half, and Wesleyan continues to pour it on. Firkin gets the ball down low to Holly Wilkins, and she beats the defender for the bucket, and the Lady Wolves lead by 20. Then, time running out in the third. Wilkins spins in the lane and gets the jumper to fall before the buzzer. Wesleyan up 51-31 heading to the final frame. And they would seal the deal in the fourth quarter. Firking leads the break and finds Wilkins in the paint. She gets mauled, but somehow gets the basket to go as Wesleyan cruises to the 2012 Class A state championship for the 5th consecutive season, knocking off Southwest Atlanta Christian by a final of 68-44.
Well, Will, stop me if you've heard this one before. Wesleyan is really good, and they pretty much just dominate anybody and everybody in their classification.
Yeah, it's just an incredible run that they're on right now. I can't say enough about the way they do things over there. They play hard all the time, play great on defense. I thought they were going to win this ball game. I had no idea they were going to win it by such a large margin. I thought this was going to be a fairly close title game, but they really took it to them. They had a 25-1 run over the first and second quarters that really just took control of the game, and Southwest Atlanta never recovered.
And then I've been asking you to look forward to next year for each one of these teams. So you're just going to go right ahead and give Wesleyan the state championship already for next season, or will they actually have to earn that one?
They'll have to earn it, but they're going to lose some considerable talent off this team. I think the player they're going to miss the most is Holly Wilkins. She's kind of their go-to offensive star, and she's really going to be a lot to replace on that team. But outside of that, there's a lot of young talent that's waiting their turn, and we're waiting their turn to lift the trophy. I think they'll have a good chance at winning it again next season.
Time now for Will's World. We put 60 seconds on the clock and we get in the mind of our very own Will Hammock, and it's brought to you by Next Star Communications.
There's a lot of good girls around Gwinnett County that could be Player of the Year, a lot of good candidates this year, but I think Diamond DeShields would have to be my Player of the Year. She's done a lot for this basketball team for so long, for the last few years, and really I was impressed by this season with the way she did playing hurt. She'd had that broken wrist and really played through a lot of pain there at the end of the season, and really did a lot for that basketball team. That kind of effort really impressed me and showed kind of how she wanted to help her teammates out. And on the boys' side, I think Chris Bolden's got to be my Player of the Year. He really emerged as a star this season, a big-time scorer. Really kept his team in a lot of games, and I think was the most dominant offensive player on the boys' side in Gwinnett County. Had some good competition for the award. I think Robert Carter from Shayla, pretty good player. Yanell Brown over at Burkmar is very good, but I think Chris overall gets my vote as Player of the Year. As Coach of the Year, I think Greg Phillips over at Burkmar has done an excellent job putting Burkmar basketball back on the map. That's why he's my pick as the boys' Coach of the Year. And Brian Sellers over at North Gwinnett Girls, he's done an excellent job too, really getting North Gwinnett back to a level they hadn't been at in a long time. Like we said earlier, it was 1963 the last time they made it to the Final Four. So congrats on Brian for taking them to that level.
Well, thank you once again to Next Star Communication for sponsoring Will's World. Will, I want to go with a couple questions about boys basketball since the highlights have been heavy on the girls' side. Starting with Chris Bolden. He is going to Georgia Tech. He previously had said he was going to the University of Miami. Now he's going to stay home, go to Georgia Tech. How do you see him fitting in with the Yellow Jackets? I
think he gives Georgia Tech a lot of what they need right now. That offense was pretty pitiful down at Georgia Tech this season. He's a definite scorer. He can really score on the offensive end. He can shoot the ball so well. He's going to be asked to do a lot as a true freshman. Both he and Robert Carter are going to have to step in and probably play heavy minutes immediately for Georgia Tech.
I want to go back to the coaching side. You talked about Greg Phillips, the great job he did over at Burkmar. My question to you is, kind of moving forward next season, you talked about some of these girls' teams and who's going to be the big contenders. On the boys' side, especially in Class 5A, what teams are you looking at to be making kind of the bigger splashes next year?
I think one team that we didn't talk about a lot that's really going to bounce back strong next year is the Norcross boys. They were kind of beat up by injuries last season. I think Norcross is really going to be a force to be contended with next year when they get everybody back and healthy. They've got considerable talent over there, and they're used to being successful. And like Wesleyan, they play great defense. I think Burkmar is another team you can look at being strong. They've kind of built that tradition over the last few years, and they have some exceptional talent coming through the program.
Time now to focus on standout performances. So let's move on to this week's building blocks. They're presented by Britt's Home Furnishing. And first up is Lexie Brown from North Gwinnett.
Yeah, she had 25 in that semifinal game. It was tough for her to lose the game. I know she was upset about that, but really, like you said, can't fault her. She had an excellent ball game. They focused a lot of their defensive attention on her, really trying to get the ball out of her hands, and she still managed to score 25 and give her team a chance to win with a couple of three-pointers there late. Couldn't quite pull it off.
And we talked about Lexie will be back next year, and so will Shayla Cooper, which means Region 7 is going to be a bear once again.
Yeah, she's a very talented player, not just on the inside. She shoots the ball pretty well, handles it very well for her size. I think maybe we see the Diamond DeShields on the same team so much that Shayla gets a little bit underrated in her abilities, but she's an excellent basketball player, definite Division I talent, I think, and at 18-8, a nice performance there in the semifinal.
And finally, another player who will be back and be in these Region 7 battles is Peyton Whitted.
Yeah, she has a lot of height, 6'2", 6'3", and I think what sets her apart is she has a lot of skills for somebody that height. She really passes the ball well, has a nice shot from well out to three-point range. So she's a girl that can produce on the offensive end, can rebound well, and just an all-around great player. And I think she's going to help North maybe have a repeat at that state Final Four.
Well, our thanks go out to Britt's Home Furnishing for furnishing these highlights and these players of the week. Will, talking about these building blocks, who else played well in the state tournament that we were missing that we should talk about?
I think Katie Firking from Wesleyan had a great game. She had 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists there in the state finals. Really one of her better games of the year, and it was there in the state finals. I think she's going to have to be the main person that steps up in Holly Wilkins' absence next year to be that offensive leader for Wesleyan.
All right, we're out of time, but you can visit us online at GwinnettPrepRally.com for the world-famous message board and video highlights. And you can also keep up with GPR on Twitter and our Facebook fan page. So be sure to join us next week for more highlights and features on Gwinnett Prep Rally every Tuesday through Friday right here on GCPS TV. For Will Hammock and all of us here at GPR, I'm Todd Klein. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.